Welcome back to some more Dead by Daylight Into the Lore. Today in this episode, we will be talking about the chapter A Lullaby for the Dark, which came with the Huntress and the survivor, David King. So without further ado, let us begin. Survival is all. There are no limits to what one abandoned child would do to make it through the day. Year after year after year, meat holds no face when it's placed above a fire to be cooked. All she seeks is shelter and a long-lost mother that nature took away. Her simple cottage is all that is left, a mad girl's paradise in a forsaken forest. Might Mr. King stand a chance against the forces of nature once it unleashes the huntress? Map: Mother's Dwelling. Associated realm: Red Forest. For the common hiker, the house might be hard to spot. Engulfed by nature, it lays dormant as it is waiting for its family to return. Once a home that held laughter, smiles, and warmth has now grown cold, but not completely deteriorated and forgotten. Nature is rough in its treatment, but someone withstands the wear and tear that stems from the winter. The inside lacks the care that once was, but flickering candles can sometimes be seen through the window, and inside there is a place for the younglings. Decorations are visible, but may not be impressive for anyone who does not understand this newly gained purpose of this dwelling. It is not just a place for someone to live and flee the world. It is a home for some and a cell for others. Others have screamed one word that the outside wind destroys and is never heard. One simple word screamed in distress: Mother. David King, the rugged scrapper. The single child of a wealthy family, David King seemed destined for greatness. While growing up in Manchester, he demonstrated serious potential in both sports and academics, and with his family connection, all doors were open to him. He could have succeeded at anything if it weren't for his combative nature. David lived for the adrenaline rush of a good fight and would go out of his way to get into one. His robustness and athletic abilities led him to rugby, where he could cut loose and really cause a ruckus. King excelled and gained a reputation as a promising, if somewhat reckless, rookie. His meteoric rise came to an abrupt end when he lost his temper and assaulted a referee, earning himself a lifetime ban from the league and cutting short what most people assumed was going to be a long, successful career. King was unconcerned. Money was no issue, so he took as an early retirement and focused on other fun things to do. Free from the constraints of a career and enabled by the wealth of his family, David King spent most of his time at the pub, drinking, watching games, and getting into fights. Some might say he was wasting his life away. Not many people knew that he was an occasional debt collector, or that he fought in clandestine bare-knuckle fight clubs. When David King stopped showing up at the pub, the few friends he still had were not surprised. They figured he had finally picked a fight with someone stronger than he was. In a way, they were right. Some say misunderstood, others say arrogant, though never to his face. A rough and tumble scrapper with a penchant for debauchery and ruckus. It's always better to have David King on your side. David King is a rugged scrapper, rewarding high-risk play. His personal perks: we're gonna live forever, dead hard, and no mither, reward an aggressive confrontational playstyle, but leave him vulnerable. His perks are a result of his years playing rugby and stem from his strong physique and his need for adrenaline, but being fast isn't everything. He's sometimes also a team player, but that side is seldom seen. Dead hard. You could take a beating when you are injured and dead hard is active. Tap into your adrenaline bank to avoid damage. Press the active ability button while running to trigger the endurance status effect for 0.5 seconds. Dead hard activates after you are rescued from a hook or after you unhook yourself and deactivate after use. Dead hard causes the exhausted status effect for 40 seconds. Dead hard cannot be used when exhausted.
We were walking through Titchfield one night when a beer bottle flew past me, then another. Thought to myself, could have some fun here, lads. Let's get stuck in. There's a rotten dust up, I swear down.
No mither. Go on out, kid. It is just a scratch. Your thick blood coagulates practically instantly. You suffer from the broken status effect for the entire trial, but benefit from the following effects. Pools of blood are suppressed. When injured or dying, grunts of pain are reduced by 75%. Your recovery speed is increased by 25%. You can recover fully from the dying state.
I just lost it. Just lopped him one. They went and banned me, didn't they? Went to the pub afterward. Had a few pints and moved on to the next chapter. Couldn't be middled with it all anyway. You know what I mean? Can't be asked.
We're gonna live forever. Your few friends deserve the best protection. You benefit from the following effect when healing a dying survivor. Increases your healing speed by 100%. Performing any of the following actions grants 1 token to We're Gonna Live Forever. Performing a safe hook rescue, taking a protection hit from an injured survivor, stunning or blinding the killer to rescue a carried survivor. Any dying survivor you heal back to injured benefit from the following effect while consuming 1 token. Grant the endurance status effect for 10 seconds. Endurance is cancelled prematurely when performing a conspicuous action.
Come on then, let's have it. I don't give a shit now.
David King might be rough around the edges, but when it comes down to it, he'll protect the friends that he's made in this terrible place. And his new friends are gonna need all the protection they can get, because along with David King came a monster of physical proportions. Some even might say, a hunter. Anna, the huntress. As soon as Anna was able to walk, her mother started teaching her how to survive a harsh, solitary life in the northern woods. Living in such an extremely remote and dangerous area required skill and resilience. When sunlight became too dim for productive activities, they would take refuge in their house, a sturdy old cabin constructed to resist the toughest winters. Close to the hearth's warmth, Anna would rest in her mother's arms, surrounded by the few wooden toys and masks she had crafted for her. Drifting off to sleep with stories and lullabies, she dreamt happy dreams, ignorant of the events that would soon change everything. Anna and her mother were stalking a great elk through the woods. They knew it was dangerous prey, but it had been a particularly difficult winter. They were almost out of food. The specter of starvation frightened them more than any forest creature. Without warning, the elk reared, bellowed, and charged at Anna. She was paralyzed with fear, as the whole world seemed to shake under the immense beast-pounding hooves. The elk was close enough for Anna to see the murderous fury in its eyes, and when her mother threw herself in its path, axe in hand, a blood-curdling scream escaped from her lips as the elk impaled her upon its antlers and hoisted her into the air. With all her strength, she brought her axe down on its head again and again while it tried to shake her loose. With a sickening crack, the antlers snapped and Anna's mother was free. The beast collapsed. Anna was too small to move her mother's broken body, so she sat with her in the clearing where she had fallen. To distract her from the dying elk's cries, Anna's mother held her and hummed her favorite lullaby. They stayed like that, the huntress and the elk getting quieter and colder, until Anna was alone in the silent forest. Eventually, she stood up and started the long walk back home. Still a child, she knew just enough about life in the frozen forest to survive. She followed her instincts and became one with the wild. She got older and stronger and practiced her hunt. As she grew into a dangerous predator, her humanity became a half-remembered dream. She widened her territory and lived off her hunts. She worked her way up through squirrels, hares, minks, and foxes. Eventually, she grew tired of them and hunted more dangerous animals, like wolves and bears. When unsuspecting travelers came through her woods, she discovered her new favorite prey: humans. Unlucky souls who strayed into her territory were slaughtered like any other animal. She liked to collect their tools and colorful garments, and especially toys when there were little ones, but she could never bring herself to kill the little girls. Girls she would take back to her house, deep in the woods. They were precious, and looking at them woke something deep in her heart. She craved the closeness of a loved one, a child of her own. Among the pillaged wooden toys, dolls, and storybooks she couldn't read, the girls would be tied by the neck with a rough and chafing rope fastened firmly to the wall. She couldn't let them wander off, or they would surely die outside. Every time, the girls would waste away and die of cold or starvation or sickness. Every time, it plunged Anna deeper into pain and sorrow and madness. She was compelled to try again and started raiding the nearest villages to slaughter families and kidnap their daughters. She wore one of the animal masks her mother crafted for her so many years earlier to try to calm the frightened children. Villagers spread the legend of a half-beast lurking in the red forest, the huntress, who killed men and ate little girls. War eventually came to the forest. German soldiers began to pass through on the march to attack the collapsing Russian Empire. During these dark times, there were no more travelers. The villagers had abandoned their homes. No more little ones to be found. Only soldiers. Many of them were found with violent axe wounds. Whole groups disappeared mysteriously. Once the war was over, the rumors of the huntress disappeared with it, engulfed by the red forest. Armed with throwable hatchets, the huntress is a constant threat to survivors, even those at a great distance. With patience and precision, chases can end as quickly as they began. Predict survivors' movement and let her hatchet fly. There's nothing quite like the rewarding sound of a target struck. The huntress is a range killer, able to throw hunting hatchets at a survivor to injure them from a distance. Her personal perks: Beast of Prey, Territorial Imperative, and Hex Huntress Lullaby, allow her to apply pressure through better map awareness and enhanced chasing abilities. Her perks revolve around the hunt of the prey, to track and find so that she can get close enough to make the kill. Beast of Prey. Your lust for a kill is so intense that your connection with the entity is momentarily lost, make you totally unpredictable. Upon gaining the Bloodlust status effect, Beast of Prey activates. Grant the undetectable status effect as long as Bloodlust is active. Beast of Prey grants 50 bonus blood points. For actions in the Hunter category, the bonus blood points are only rewarded during the trial.
Where did she go?
Hex, Huntress Lullaby. A hex rooting its power in despair. Your hunt is a irresistible song of dread, which muddles your prey's attention. Survivors failing a repair skill check instantly regresses the generator by 6% of its maximum possible progression, in addition to the default progression penalty. Survivors failing a healing skill check instantly regresses the healing action by 6% of its maximum possible progression, in addition to the default progression penalty. Each time a survivor is hooked, Hex Huntress Lullaby grows in power and gains 1 token, up to a maximum of 5 tokens. Each token reduces the time between the skill check warning queue and the skill check appearing for both repair and healing skill checks. 1 token reduction of 14%, 2 token reduction of 28%, 3 token reduction of 42%, 4 token reduction of 56%, and 5 tokens complete suppression of the warning queue. All effects of the Hex perk persist until its Hex totem is cleansed or blessed.
That song, it drives me crazy!
Territorial Imperative unlocks potential in your aura reading ability. Whenever you are farther than 24 meters from the basement, while a survivor enters it, Territorial Imperative activates. The aura of that survivor is revealed to you for 6 seconds. Territorial Imperative has a cooldown of 45 seconds. We're not safe anymore. The Huntress was once an innocent child, but she grew up to be someone distraught in madness. It's something that she can't have, but she takes anyway. Now trapped in this world, the only thing that makes sense now was to hunt. And there were plenty of praise just for her.